Well, folks, we've got a new series for you starting today. Our lovely Jordan is back. What's up, pal?
Thanks, Alex. Always glad to be here, and I thank you for having me back yet again.
Absolutely. The new series we're talking about video game adaptations. So we've got a video game guy over there, and Jordan. I'm the movie guy, and he's also a movie guy. But I don't play a lot of video games, especially video games that came out in the 90s and early 2000s, like the video games Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2. So, for our first film in the video game adaptation series, we're going to be talking about Return to Silent Hill. This is the Real Friends podcast. Before we do that, I'd like to play a little game. We're going to go back to 2022 and we are going to talk about every video game adaptation that's come out since then. And all we're going to do is say if it's better or worse than Return to Silent Hill. So, February 18th, 2022, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg bring to life a film that had been talked about for a very long time, so much to the point they had to recast it because Mark Wahlberg was too old to play Nathan Drake, and that is Uncharted. Have you seen Uncharted?
I have
Is it better or worse than Silent Hill 2?
leagues better, and I didn't necessarily care for the movie. It was a fun action movie, pretty good as far as a video game movie.
I
But
thought it was a fun video game adaptation. Yep.
yep,
I mean, Uncharted is probably my favorite video game series. It's the whole reason I bought a PlayStation 4 for Uncharted 4. We will certainly review Uncharted at some point, but I would wholeheartedly agree with you. It was better than Return to Silent Hill. Next movie, April 8th, 2022, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Is that worse or better than Return to Silent Hill?
fucking leagues better, buddy. Leagues better.
That's
And I'm
actually a good movie.
yeah, I'm a Sonic the Hedgehog enjoyer. Games are hit or miss, but I'll tell you what, all three of the movies, say what you will about them, really good. Like,
And I think they get better as they go. I think
yeah,
the most recent one was the best one.
yeah, they're true to Sonic's character to a point, and there ain't a whole lot to talk about with that, but like they just brought the entire cast to life. It's a really good movie that kids and adults can watch.
Yep, absolutely. All right, going to 2023 now. So it's almost a year and a half between video game adaptations. We have the first Five Nights at Freddy's. Better or worse?
Better simply to the fact that they have a lot of stuff, fan theories, and things like that they could pull from. But I would also say that for the first one, at least, the director seemed to actually take a lot of that outside inspiration into account. And they made a game that was or made a movie based on a game that was basically scroll left to right and try not to get jump scared. And they actually made a watchable movie.
Sure. Yeah, so much so it made a sequel, and we'll talk about that one in a little bit. All right. This is one that it might go either way for better or worse. August 9th, 2024, Borderlands, directed by Eli Roth, which is stunning to me that Eli Roth made this movie.
Ooh, you might. Oh, worse. And my
I
reason for it being worse, Borderlands, the movie, was hyped up by the grease bucket himself, Randy Pitchford.
hmm
Folks, if you want to be pissed off at a corporation owned individual, Randy Pitchford's one of the scummiest bosses to work for in as far as Gearbox is concerned. Like he's up there with Ubisoft and EA's owners in the past. Yeah, Borderlands was just a flop, and I don't even blame Eli Roth on it, simply because it sounded like him and a co-writer who is what's the Alan Smithy, basically. It was one of
mm.
those deals. Basically he backed out but saw his name on it as an Alan Smithy type deal. And phew, Randy Pitchford had his greasy little fingers in that movie way too much, to a point that I think it killed what could have been a good adaptation for a very crude but fun, and like Borderlands 2, peak Borderlands in my eyes. The story was
Sure.
great. Handsome Jack was a great antagonist as far as that type of game goes. The movie fucking blew.
which is crazy because I mean they touted it as a summer blockbuster. Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Jamie Lee Curtis, like I think Kate Blanchett's in that also. Like it was supposed to be a big deal, and you
Mhm.
never heard another word about it.
Nope.
So, yeah, that's all right. So, out of one, two, three, four, out of five, we have one movie that's worse than Return to Silent Hill, and it may stay there. Next, we have the third Sonic the Hedgehog, came out December 20th, 2024. And yeah, we both said
Yeah.
that's better. That movie's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Very, very good movie.
Here's one that I don't know how you feel about this movie. I don't know that we've ever talked about it. A Minecraft movie.
Personally, I wasn't the audience for it. I could see people, and I grew up with Minecraft. I was that key demographic, like middle school into high school. I was playing the alpha, the beta before it finally got its full release. I enjoyed Minecraft. Don't nostalgia glasses don't really work on me for the movie. Too little, too late, and they just threw Jack Black in as Steve because it's Jack Black. They could have filled anybody up. The whole cast was just weird. Like, if you wanted to make a Minecraft movie, you should have just did the Telltale game,
Mm.
the Minecraft Telltale game, and you should have just made that into a movie because that is leagues better just playing through that than what the Minecraft movie was in my eyes.
So, is it better or worse than Return to Silent Hill?
No, it's better.
Okay.
It's way better. But
I actually love that movie. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, this is crap." And then
yeah,
as TikTok took over like everything with it, the chicken jockey stuff, rewatching it, I have a ton of fun with that movie. So yeah, it's much more rewatchable. This next one, I don't think you saw it. I think we talked about that. Until Dawn that came out last year.
played the game, didn't see the movie. From everything I heard, though, it was a solid movie, but it did not do the game as much justice as it should have. There was a lot that could have went on because Until Dawn having the whole running theme being like, oh, your choices matter and the butterfly effect, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where the replayability comes in. From what I've heard, that isn't really what the movie's about, and in turn didn't really interest me as much because I was thinking, oh, that'd be cool if they did like what's is it Matt Damon? It's kind of like a Groundhog Day type movie, but it's like sci-fi and futuristic where he continues to
Oh,
die.
Tom Cruise, Edge of
Tom
Tomorrow.
Cruise. Yep, thank
Yeah,
you. Tom Cruise was in that. It would have been cool to see that, but in what the setting of Until Dawn was. Like,
sure.
oh, this happened, then they keep on going. It's like do it in short stories, but make it coherent where they finally figure it out. And I
Yeah.
don't know, do something with it that would make the movie fun.
What I liked, what I was looking for going into it was I wanted something that wasn't the game because the game was a movie already. The
Mm-hmm.
game was a Telltale game without being a Telltale game, right? This movie, spoiler alert for Until Dawn, for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's mostly like a prequel to the game, which I appreciated. That I think Until Dawn is 100 times better than Return to Silent Hill, and I'm sure at some point you and I will certainly review it.
Absolutely.
And then the last video game adaptation that's come out before Return to Silent Hill, Five Nights at Freddy's 2.
I haven't seen it myself, but I'm going off of my friend's word on it. From what they said, it was a good time for somebody that enjoys the Five Nights at Freddy's series, but much more than that, I didn't have interest in seeing that after the first one. But I'm glad they had a good time, and just going off their word, I trust them. I'm going to say it's better than Return to Silent Hill based off of that.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's better. I had a horrible movie theater experience seeing that because the mom in front of me that brought her kids was FaceTiming the entire movie, so that
Mm-hmm.
kind of dampened it for me. But there's a lot more nods to the video games from what I understand in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. So if you couldn't tell, we did not like Return to Silent Hill, much like most of the world. And I'd like to start by talking about the title, right? So, Return to Silent Hill. Not only is this a Return to Silent Hill for audiences, it's a Return to Silent Hill for the director. Christoph Gaines directed Silent Hill 20 years ago, and then he came back and made this movie with nearly half the budget of what he had in that movie. Now, today I watched the original Silent Hill for the first time, the whole way through. And
Mm-hmm.
I say the whole way through because I've tried to watch it a couple times. It's a tough watch, but it's a lot better than this movie, man. Like it it looks better. It had a mystery that was unfolding that you could understand. Like Return to Silent Hill to me looked like three people stood in a green room with green screens, had no practical effects, had no anything. It was tough to watch.
So you know how we've talked about the Mandalorian in passing time and time again,
Hmm.
and how you know that that entire background is done on a blue screen and like the Unreal Engine or something like that. Very talented artists are putting their work into that. Any Marvel movie, et cetera, et cetera. They did exactly that with none of the talent, in my opinion. I hate to discredit the individuals that took the time to make the town come to life in CG. I'm sure if they had more time or more funding for what it was, it would have looked even better. But be it camera work or cinematography or whatever it was, it just had one of the more prevalent uncanny valley effects that I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like it was, I can suspend my disbelief on what, hey, I'm at a movie. This is a good time, whatever. I couldn't with this. And I
Hmm.
said to you a little bit ago in text, like, thinking about while we were sitting at the movie, when I saw 7, 8 different people had their splash screen at the very beginning of the movie before the opening credits, I just had a feeling this was going to be a cheap tax write off movie. And I'm almost positive that's what it is.
Well, and the upsetting thing is that this still had a budget of $23 million. dollars.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make a movie look this bad with 23 million? Well, and here's I think the big reason why it looks worse than a movie that came out 20 years ago. There was a ton of CG in Silent Hill that came out 20 years ago, but
Mm-hmm.
they shot it on film. When you shoot on film, CG blends in better. This was shot digitally.
Yep.
And why you would shoot something digitally that you're not putting on like Netflix or something that you're trying to release in a theater is mind-blowing to me. I have no idea why you would do that.
Absolute incompetence, maybe.
Sure.
I mean that too, because we'll get to the plot a bit, folks, but I'm not gonna. The game's been out forever. If you didn't know, Return to Silent Hill is supposed to be the story of Silent Hill 2 told in movie format. It
Very
fol-
loosely, I
yeah,
guess.
it follows James Sunderland and getting the letter from his wife Mary. They made him a painter for some reason, which was not part of the game.
And they're not
Um,
married. They are not
yeah,
married in this movie.
also correct. Also correct. So folks, we're gonna get into it here as to why Silent Return to Silent Hill fucking sucks. um, I guess the biggest thing that I had difficulty caring about with this movie was like I can I can allow a movie director and writers to change the story that people coming to see this movie, the fans of the game, were expecting to see. You got to keep them. You got to, hey, there's the wink, wink, nod, nod. What's going on? That's awesome. Go ahead and do that.
The
But
first
don't,
movie did that.
yeah, but don't tear the entire fucking plot of Silent Hill 2 out of the movie and like, oh, here's a character. Oh, there's a character. Oh, Angela. Oh, Laura. Oh, Eddie. What fucking purpose do you all have in this movie? We're just watching James run around and breathe heavy. And I will give the actor of James credit. I didn't care for him at first.
He tried.
He acted his ass off for what he was given. He's
Yeah.
on a blue screen set. For what he was doing, even though I thought it did look a little goofy sometimes, like his fear, I'm like, that he doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
Okay, I can respect that. He's acting like I'm not fearful. I'm just completely lost as to what's happening.
Sure.
He does have his moments. Don't get me wrong, he has his moments,
Yeah.
but he acted his ass off for you know being given what he had, which is
So, so for someone that's only played about an hour of the video game, right? In the game, are there all the flashbacks like they were in this movie? Because there were flashbacks galore.
no. And a lot of the flashbacks in this movie are very much trying to fill in the viewer as to the story that they're creating, if that makes sense. Because, like you said, Mary and James aren't well married in this movie. They are, they're dating, whatever. Okay, that's a little retcon, whatever. You do that. There's always been culty shit in the Silent Hill games, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Excuse me. The big thing with Return to Silent Hill. I want to keep calling it Silent Hill 2, but that's terrible to say. The big thing with Return to Silent Hill is it's trying to force feed a narrative of Mary is Mary became ill because of all this cultish stuff going on. Mary
Right.
became ill because she's basically feeding her father's uh uh call it a congregation, his followers and stuff like that, to like literally drinking her blood.
Mm.
Reality is, if memory serves me correctly, excuse me, folks, I have not played Silent Hill 2 in a while, but I know the general consensus of the game. I don't think that we ever find out too much as to why Mary was really sick. And flat out spoilers, skip a minute ahead here. James kills Mary. That's the big stinger at the end of the game. Like you don't you're there are little, I wouldn't call them flashbacks per se, but there's little bits of trivia and stuff that's coming up through reading files and playing the game, doing the puzzles, seeing the world of Silent Hill, which is somebody's own personal purgatory. And it is found out in one big moment toward the end of the game, which is played very well because the save thing, especially in the remake, James is looking at the mirror, basically. He's looking at the mirror, looking at himself, trying to hold true to like he can look himself in the mirror, literally. When you find out this certain point at the end of the game, James is looking away from the mirror. It's very subtle, but it makes all the difference in the world at how good of a fucking game Silent Hill 2 is. And they did nothing with it in this movie.
Well, and the reason I asked about the flashbacks is because in playing through some of the game today, the very beginning of the game, like, he's walking down the path, right? He's got his car. It's already like what happens like 30 minutes into the movie is the very beginning of the video game when he's walking down towards the church graveyard. And he says in that moment, I got a letter from my wife. I don't know how it's real. It's been, what, 3 years since she got sick. It
Mm-hmm.
did so much better to give us context for what was going on than all these flashbacks that were terrible. Them meeting, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The him in the bar and then going back to his house and finding the letter, terrible. Like it wasn't even fun to watch. Like you said to me leaving the theater, and I completely agreed with it. This is one of the first movies in a long time I was sitting there waiting for it to end.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to be in that theater anymore, but because we do this show, because we're, avid moviegoers, we stayed and finished it. But man, like what's upset, I think the most upsetting thing to me is this feels like the most dumpuary film I've seen in a very long time. And I thought we were past that. We've had some really cool January movies. We had 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. We
Mm-hmm.
had Primate, which was great. We had We Bury the Dead, which I thought was really cool. We've had some really good January movies, and this was a movie that they just threw away. They're like, please get in theaters. It's got one showtime left in our theaters now already, and it's been out 1 week. It was so bad. Like, I don't even know who greenlit this. And the idea that Christoph Gaines would come back to this, and he has made a good movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he made Brotherhood of the Wolf, which is a sensational film. I believe it was the second one he ever made. I think it was right before Silent Hill. He made that. So he knows how to make a good movie. I don't know, besides your theory that I wholeheartedly agree with, that it was a tax write-off, why this movie exists.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts to, what the coolest thing about going to see that movie that night was?
Hmm,
I got that nice little novelty postcard that they were handing out. Do you know where that postcard went?
the trash.
No, right in the back of my little leverless controller for my fighting games because it's
Nice.
a nice clear screen. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
literally what I did with it because the worst part is that ain't James. It's the fucking guy playing James. Like this could have been cool too, but I'm like, whatever. At least I got something out of this movie. I
Yeah.
I guess we might as well talk about some of the characters that came up in it real quick.
Sure.
Because they are just as important to Silent Hill 2 and like what was like theory crafted at that point and what ended up becoming the actual lore and things like that. So, starting off, the first person that we truly meet then coming up is Angela. Who's Angela, you might ask? Well, without going too much into her lore, she is basically somebody that's stuck in Silent Hill, uh, and dealing with a lot of deep topics here, folks. Ancestral abuse, domestic abuse from her father and her brother, and that's where the ancestral comes from, and a lot of guilt thinking that her mother could have stopped it.
Mhm.
That's the grand scheme of it. I'm not going to go into her whole backstory. She's in there. She is basically the setup for an individual who is wanting to end their life. That's her very, very broad reason for being in Silent Hill. She's in this fucking movie for a grand total of 5 minutes. Her story is one that can make you feel once you realize what's going on with her. Her story is one that's supposed to play at your empathetic gains while you're playing the game and you run into her and you uncover more of her story. Oh, she showed up and is putting sandbags down in the movie to fucking cover the dam from the water coming up. Oh, you find her later and she's laying there with a knife and don't touch me, James. They don't play into it why she doesn't like to be touched. Like,
She does, like, you saying that kind of clears up a line in the movie because she says no one will ever touch me again. But play into that then, because she in the game when you first meet her, she's not creepy looking at all. She looks like
mm-hmm.
another lost girl hanging out in the graveyard.
Yep.
This one they went with, she's just a freak from Silent Hill who you think is scary and is gonna affect you in some way. Like she meant nothing to the movie, and I know there's other characters who meet that mean nothing because you right out of the movie told me all about Eddie.
Oh my God, Eddie. We'll just jump right into Eddie real quick. Eddie is an individual who has basically been at his wits' end. He snapped mentally after his whole lifetime. Basically, he's been bullied and verbally abused by his peers due to how he looks and with him being overweight. Eddie in the game, he basically reveals that he killed the dog of a football player that was bullying him, and then he shot the dog's owner in the leg. Eddie's just mentally unwell, excuse me, and is wanting to kill the next person that laughs at him. In the game, there's the line where James asks Eddie, "Have you gone nuts?" And it made there you go. Eddie snaps, and James ends up having to kill Eddie in self defense. Meeting Eddie, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Eddie actually mattered in that. You know what they did with him in the movie? He's thrown up in a fucking toilet. James calls him an asshole because he scares Laura away, and we'll get to Laura in a second. He punches him in the head and then kicks him while he's down, and here comes Pyramid Head. We'll get to Pyramid Head even closer to that.
Eddie to me felt like the director wanted a like comedic relief a little bit and did nothing with him. He kicks him in the groin and then is gone. Like
Yep.
we're gonna get there, but I would say the biggest issue with this movie probably isn't even the script. Whoever
Pacing.
the whoever the editor was asleep. The editing in this is horrendous. There's that point where that monster reaches down
Yep.
James's throat, and then it snaps us to a dream. And my thought is, okay, is this an actual dream? Is this another flashback? What's happening? And then he snaps back, and he's just in a room with Laura,
Yep.
or not Laura. Yeah, is it
But
Laura?
no, at that
No.
point, it was the therapist because he woke up in the hospital.
Well, but then when he goes back to Silent Hill, it's the girl we were just talking about. She's lying on the floor with the knife.
Yes, yes, yes. You're right. No, no, that was before it. That was whenever he ended up seeing. See, folks, the editing and the continuity is dog shit.
Awful. We saw
We,
this movie 3 days ago, and we
yes.
don't remember what happened. It's that bad.
So up to this point, Eddie, or I'm sorry, James gets to the hotel. He sees Eddie, sees Laura. Eddie kicks him always down. Pyramid Head comes. James runs. He runs into the spider enemy who actually has a name, and I can't think of it in the game. But basically, it's the spider like humanoid that has its head upside down, which CG or not, it looked okay. I'll give it that. It was
It's
creepy.
probably where $15 million of the budget went to is making that creature.
Yeah. It comes into it. James is running. This was tense. This was okay. It wasn't bad. James hides in a closet. He's trying to hide the light instead, turn it off because I don't know. But basically, Pyramid Head comes in. Up to this point, we've seen Pyramid Head for a minute. He breaks through a cage, kills the spider humanoid type creature, opens the closet, looks James in the eye, and James is like, my head, oh, and Pyramid Head does the same thing. because spoiler alert, Pyramid Head is supposed to be James as, fucking alter ego in Silent Hill of God, I don't even know anymore because this movie fucked it up so bad. Pyramid Head is supposed to be James to a point. It Even the game doesn't necessarily explain it the best, in my opinion. I know what they're getting at. It's supposed to be like James's idea of wanting to take his life back, and a little bit of abuse and a little bit of I'm selfish, and his urge to kill. It is basically his guilt incarnate for killing his wife to that point. And if there's anybody that really, really, really is into the Silent Hill lore, I apologize ahead of time. I'm doing it from when I last played the game like 12, 13 years ago on a PS3 with, the one that actually played PS2 games. Whenever that was a thing, and then they took it out of the future consoles. Anyhow, James wakes up. Here's Angela laying on the floor. Don't touch me. Nobody's going to touch me again. Okay, bye. James leaves. We get to the hospital. We meet Maria. Maria's supposed to be James' idea of Mary. The game plays with it a little bit. You could end up with Maria as one of the endings. You could end up, uh, you know, Mary forgiving James for killing him because, in his words, I was selfish. I wanted my life back, whatever. And if you get the good ending, Mary forgives James for killing her. She's just happy that he showed up, or, in Silent Hill in that sense. Blah, blah, blah. Maria shows up. Oh, you look like Mary. I look like her. It's the way you look at me, is how I know. Okay, cool. Why aren't we explaining this? Like, don't just feed me that shit.
Well, and like, I mean, come on, you use the exact same actress. Like, we didn't need you talking to each other, just being like, "Oh, you know what I look like? I never told you my name."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was happening in this movie? I don't get it.
That's okay. I mean, Laura showed up at some point also. She was there. Eddie kicked James. Laura's hiding. Laura shows up before he meets Maria. Yippee yahoo. We get to the hospital. The bobblehead nurses show up. Actually, a really cool scene. There was an overwhelming sense of dread because, oh, there's a whole mess of bobblehead nurses. They don't die in one hit in the game, but I liked how they were basically hollow mannequins. That
Sure.
that was okay.
And that was different from the first movie. So they look the same as the original Silent Hill he made, but in that they could bleed, right? Because I don't know if you remember that scene, like they start cutting each other and like
Yep.
starting to bleed and stuff. Like the things that were interesting in this movie, he directly just took characters that he already had the costumes for and put them back in this film. And that's the parts that were sort of interesting. I'm not saying the first Silent Hill movie was good. I thought it wasn't good at all. But compared to this movie, my God, it's a masterpiece.
Uh-huh. And sorry, mind you, I'm saying bubblehead nurse. I'm speaking a little fast and saying bobblehead. I mean bubblehead. But
Yeah, sure.
I will say also, just because they showed up at the beginning and they were spitting acid and whatnot, I don't know what the official name is, but like the creatures that are like together, no arms, literally creepy walking,
Yeah,
inside split, they're basically armless men.
yeah.
Them spitting acid, okay, that's cool. It's whatever. I mean, but they weren't expanded upon. Like when you see a
No.
monster in this movie, oh, and they throw little cockroaches that have like baby faces that are over, they're like the size of a rad roach for anybody that's played a Fallout game. I
Hmm.
haven't seen a whole lot of the TV show, but I hear good things about it. I don't know if rad roaches show up. Um, it's basically a swarm of them. I don't think they're in the game. I could be mistaken. I don't think they're in the game though.
I
They're
know
just
they're in
there.
they're in his original movie. So that's what I can think that he was bringing those back. But you bring up a good point that none of these things are expanded on, and they don't necessarily have to be. The
No.
problem is this movie, all it felt like was it was nodding to the video game when it
Mhm.
marketed itself as the movie adaptation of Silent Hill 2.
Yes.
It every time you saw a villain, they were barely there and they were just there to give a nod to the game. That's
Mm.
not the way to do it. If you want to make a movie in the Silent Hill universe, give us different characters. Don't bring these other characters. They could be little Easter eggs, right? We could, like, our character could run into James at some point, and James is trying to find Mary.
Yeah.
Don't market this as the movie adaptation of a game and then not do anything with that.
I talked about Pyramid Head. He had, we'll call it 2.5 scenes.
Yeah.
And I give half a scene because James painted a pyramid on a self portrait of him because we had to make him a painter. Pyramid Head, like I said, is loosely broadly it's James's guilt and like his own desire for punishment for what he's done.
Sure.
That's what Pyramid Head is to a point. In this, he showed up. Him and James had a moment. James wakes up, sees Angela, meets Maria. That's where we were going with this. They go to the hospital. Maria gets stabbed by a bubblehead nurse. James brings her back to life with magic because he and while she passed out, he basically finds a cleaning like a antiseptic gauze, sticks it on her where she got stabbed. Oh my god, I'm okay. I limp, but I'm okay.
It's
I,
basically the syringe from from Silent Hill 2.
and that's okay. Maria is an escort mission in the game. I get what they were doing. She isn't able to take weapons in the game. Okay, whatever. She's not able to defend herself. I get that. Laura, on the other hand, she is a creepy girl, but she is a cute little girl in the concept of the game when you first meet her. In this, she's just a raggedy, like
Disgusting.
like a Blair Witch looking type deal, or maybe not that to accept, but like,
The ring, right? Like the
yeah,
little girl that gets out of the TV. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that's what they were going for. It was horrifying. And she's
and
holding something they act like is a doll. The whole time you know it's not a doll, it's crying.
yeah.
You know that it's some for deformed little creature.
Where in the game, she had like overalls, a striped shirt, and she had like nice blonde hair. She was clean and whatever. Okay, she's there to continue moving James along. Oh god, she's there in the game as a plot device for James to basically tell the truth as to what he did. In this,
Sure.
she is basically padding the movie out as James chases her around for probably the grand total of 15 minutes when it's all said and done.
It's almost like Christoph Gans got the feedback from the first movie that Alyssa wasn't in it enough, and Alyssa should have been guiding Rose around these different areas instead of the clues. That's all I can think. I think the two biggest issues of this movie, other than it sucking, Laura, and then we'll get there, but the ending. I think that he heard feedback about how over the top the ending was in the first one, and he had to make this the complete opposite, and I thought it hurt the movie.
I agree. I mean, it is what it is. We watched it. It I don't know. Do we talk about the very end here? Because I could bitch about this for about 20 minutes, but I'll keep it short.
I would love for that because I mean clearly this is a spoiler review, folks. If you haven't seen the movie, honestly, don't go see the movie and just listen to this because it's probably more entertaining.
Listen to this, but then please, if you have access to it in any way, and I don't condone piracy, but there are ways to play Silent Hill 2. There's the wonderful remake that came out that is very darn close to the original. It's got some quality of life, it's got some stuff that goes on to change it a little bit to make it better for modern systems. But if you go to a thrift store, get a PS2, that's awesome. Get the original Silent Hill 2. Play this game. It's fucking great. Play any of
Yeah.
them. They're great as far as the original four games were concerned. Uh, three, one, two, and three are probably my favorites. The Room was batshit insane, which is the fourth one. So the ending of the movie, which we'll call the ending of the game because that's where it's compared. James doesn't wake up in a fucking hospital where his therapist is talking to him, blah, 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 as far as the game's concerned. In the movie, however, James wakes up in a hospital after getting Mary's hand, who we didn't know was Mary at first, getting one of her six hands shoved down his throat. He wakes up in a hospital. Oh boy, here's the therapist. James is staring at the window a little later on. Hey, thanks for everything. Uh-oh, loud ass siren. It's Silent Hill time, which is, we didn't even talk about that. Every time that Silent Hill itself shows up, we hear, wah. It's the Silent Hill emergency broadcast siren going on. Cool, whatever. It happened wherever James was now in this hospital. Later, James apparently burns said hospital the fuck down. Okay, when did this happen? He woke up after, drowning him and Mary. They both went into the water together and they drowned after he smothered her, which, yes, he did kill Mary in the game. Okay, we're doing multiple endings at once now at
Well,
the
in
end of the movie.
the movie made it act like she begged him for it.
And she
She,
didn't. That's the thing. There's a reason he's in Silent Hill, and it's because he is guilty for his crime of killing his wife.
yep.
She is terminally ill. He came back to Silent Hill to see her because she didn't want to leave because of her father's cult and blah blah blah. James, do it. Oh no, I'm killing my wife.
And she's in a hospital. Nobody walked in during that. It's not like it was a closed off ward or anything. Like
No.
he's just smothering his wife and then he can take her dead body out without anyone bothering him.
Yep, threw her in the car. They both drown together. Whatever. James wakes up. He's from the water. He ends up back at the hospital. No, the hotel.
Hmm.
Ends up back at the hotel. The hotel's burning. This is also Pyramid Head shows up again. Fucking kills Maria. That's cool. Okay,
And then we
whatever.
get the zoom in shot that it's actually James
Yeah, and then you
for
get the
the
scene.
second time.
And then you get the scene also where, I painted a big fucking pyramid on a self portraits of my despair and sorrow, and yippee. Well, James meets Mary once more. She forgave him. This was like where the flashback came from. She forgave him. The moths come, and okay, that's cool. You want to have symbolism for what was going on, so Mary's around. There's some cinematography going on here. They're trying to get a message across. Filmmaking, I get it. Mary's a giant fucking moth at the end of it. The bed was her cocoon. And don't get me wrong, the end of the game is either Mary or Maria, depending on the path you take. She is a bed monster. That's the final boss. It's this bed monster, like flying. It hovers and shit. Whatever. That's as close as it gets. Because
Well,
James doesn't.
I was gonna say that's the end of the first movie too. Alessa is a bed monster. She comes up in the church with all the barbed wire and stuff. Like that was interesting because it made sense.
Mhm. James doesn't fight this Mary. James accepts embrace from this Mary. She has forgiven him. Woohoo. You know what happens at the end of the game? If you get the good ending, bless you. If you get the good ending, Maria is there on the bed. She's disguised as Mary. I want you, James, blah, blah, blah. You don't, oh, big boss monster comes out. That's why she turns into, because she's, it's whatever. You get the cut then after you beat it. Mary forgives James. It's very heart wrenching in like the best ways possible. Mary's letter as the credit before the credits roll are word for word being played. And whether you get the good ending or the bad ending, you're going to feel like more or less of a dick for your
True.
choices in the game because it's the same letter every time. And it is basically Mary saying that she's scared. She doesn't hate you, James. She forgives you, and she just hopes that you would visit. But supposedly, James never visits, per se, even though he does because he kills her. But she's lying in bed and she told the nurse, give James this letter whenever I die. James does show up, but he didn't know up to that point from said letter that at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure he knew from the letter, et cetera, et cetera. That's why he's feeling guilty. He does the whole adventure, but it's never directly expressed that James killed Mary, read the letter, whatever. That letter that letter is not touched upon. It is not even referenced once in this fucking movie. And it pretty much solidifies the entirety of the game as to why you went on this entire adventure. Whatever you do in the game, it is what it is. That fucking letter will bring you to tears if you truly cared about this game. and
Yeah,
just
there's one letter in this movie, and it's the one he finds that you have in your possession at the very beginning of the game, just saying coming back to our special place.
yes, and I like that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
this actually has hope. It was the fucking fishing bait to get you to stay,
yeah,
and it hurts.
yep.
So, folks, I am not the biggest Silent Hill like aficionado, but damn it, I enjoy the games when I play them because they are 1 through 4 are good games. I've heard great things about Silent Hill F. The remake of 2 was fantastic. There is a reason that 2, besides Pyramid Head, but there is a reason that 2 is considered one of the like top tier games on the PS2 era when it comes to this sort of game. It hits everything correctly when it comes to talking about a psychological horror. It it isn't the best quality of life game anymore. It's clunky as shit. I get that. But the storytelling, the multiple endings depending on how you play the game, the ideas of talking respectfully about abuse, suicide, bullying, guilt, dread, and putting it in this world that is just the accommodate or the conglomeration of what that is to somebody's psyche.
And the trauma, it's dealing with trauma.
It is. It is a masterpiece of the time. And with that, I say fuck Return to Silent Hill as a movie adaptation of Silent Hill 2. It
It can
is
do
bad.
nothing to bring more people to play that game.
I
If
hope it
you
does.
if you did not know anything about this game and went and watched that movie, you would not want to play the game. You would be like, this is awful. Why would I
If you
do this?
if you knew nothing about the game and watched that movie, you wouldn't know what the fuck Silent Hill was to begin with.
Yeah. And
I think
like
that's
again, it feeds in like when you present a movie that's directed by the same person that directed the original film 20 years ago. I understand this is a reboot, is how they're looking at it. But dude, try harder, man. I mean, we didn't even talk about the very end of the movie. The very end of the movie lacks like nothing ever happened.
mhm.
He just decides instead of taking her to Silent Hill, they're going to drive away together. Like they bookended the movie with him meeting Mary. And yeah, this movie sucked. This is the worst movie I've seen in a very long time.
You know what they tried to do? They basically tried to do the rebirth ending of Silent Hill 2, which is if you get certain cult relics, that James supposedly goes back to the island to bring Mary back to life. They fucked that up. Like you could have done that. You
Yeah.
could have like expanded into the cult nonsense of the Silent Hill series and been like, oh my God, I'm figuring out the pieces of this puzzle. There's something that can bring people back to life. Well, I'm at my wit's end. I got to try and do it. I love this woman. They didn't even fucking touch that. She just begged James to kill her. He had to deal with that instead of him being selfish and killing her because she's quote unquote ruining my life. I hate to see you like this, but the last 3 years have been hell. I'm going to kill you. That's basically why you're at Silent Hill to begin with, this James. And it fucks with you so bad when you play it in the game and realize that James is the murderer. Silent Hill 2 remake, you know what your fucking inventory system has going on in the background the whole time? It's sped up footage of James killing his fucking wife. And you don't know that. Like, it is such a good game. And fuck, Return to Silent Hill fucking blows. I can't I have not been this annoyed by a movie in a long time, but I had some okay I didn't have high expectations. I didn't even know this was based on Silent Hill 2 till you told me about it. And I'm like, oh, that'll be cool. I was disappointed on every end of this movie, and I hate to be an armchair critic about this.
This is coming from two dudes that love Jason Statham movies. We're not
Yeah,
movie snobs,
no,
but literally as the credits rolled and the lights came up, you looked at me and you go, you didn't even look at me. You were still staring at the screen. You go, that fucking sucked.
I know. And I don't I go I am probably the antithesis of somebody that goes to see movies. I go to a movie to have fun. I could give a
Mhm.
shit. about what the newest Marvel movies plot is in the area. I could care less about what's going on in 28 Days Later, The Bone Temple, even though I spoke positively about that.
Yeah.
I could care less about what red herrings and write-offs that you do for like a movie adaptation of something. This movie offended me in a way I didn't know I'd be offended by movies. Fuck Return to Silent Hill. I am
Yeah.
very disappointed with this movie.
Well, that takes us good into basically the end of the episode. Our next video game adaptation we're going to be talking about is the original Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm kind of hoping we can get through that whole series this year because Zach Kreger, the director of the phenomenal Weapons, is making a new Resident Evil movie.
I did not know this, and I'm
Yeah,
actually kind of okay with it. Let's
yeah,
hope for the
Weapons was
best.
awesome, Barbarian was awesome, and
Mhm.
he has said like, because people are upset, they're like, "Oh, you're getting into IP." He goes, "Believe me, it's just in the Resident Evil world." He goes, "It's still an original film." So,
Oh,
because Weapons is getting nominated for the Oscars and stuff, and he hasn't even shown up to anything because he's working so hard on this movie. So,
fingers crossed then,
yeah.
because there's a lot that you could do in the realm of Resident Evil.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Alice and her journey here in about 2 weeks. So that has been the horrendous, probably the worst film we've reviewed on the podcast, Return to Silent Hill. Keep a lookout this weekend. We are going to be releasing a movie draft that Jordan, myself, and three other of our friends were on. And then, yeah, we will come back at you with Resident Evil in 2 weeks. So, Jordan, thanks for coming on, pal. Sorry the
Hey,
movie sucks so bad.
hey, before you cut it off, though, I gotta ask you, what do you rate this as a video game movie? Video game movie, not a movie in whole, but you could do that too.
I think it's the same for both. I've got it a 3 out of 10, and
3 out of
that's generous.
That's very generous. I was gonna say as a movie adaptation, this is up here with the Super Mario Brothers movie for me. And I'm still gonna rate the Super Mario Brothers movie higher. This movie's a fucking 0.05 for me as a
Wow.
video game adaptation. You know what it
Wow.
did? It showed some monsters. It talked about James and Mary. It did fuck all else with the story.
I'm sure if I had played the whole game, I'd have it even lower. But just terms of a movie and comparing it to other video game adaptations we have, I mean, at some point, dude, we're gonna do Dwayne the Rock Johnson's Doom because we have to. Um,
I'll rate that higher than this. I'm telling you now. And I love
yeah.
Doom as a series.
Yeah, yeah, this was a very, very bad movie. Like I've said to everyone I've talked to about it, there's a reason there's one Showtime a day already when there's barely anything out. So we will be probably reviewing Iron Lung, which I know nothing about that game, so I'm excited for that. That comes out this coming week.
Yeah, I've played the game. I'd be glad to play it again. Hell, we could play it together, and one of us plays it, and the other one experiences it. I'd be glad to do that for you because I'm very interested and very excited for how that movie's going to turn out.
Sweet. Well, if you guys haven't listened to us before, this is the most Debbie Downer we've ever been on a film. Usually we're pretty high on movies, so that should tell you a lot. But
So,
yeah.
congratulations, you've heard Jordan at his most passionate, even if it wasn't the most coherent. But I'll end it with this, Alex. I fucking love this movie. No.
All right,
Fuck
that's
Return
all.
to Silent Hill.
The only thing I'm leaving in is I love this movie, and then it's going to the theme song.
Oh, don't do that. Keep all this in right now.
All right, but hey, this has been the Real Friends podcast. That's Jordan.
Thanks for having me again, buddy.
All right, and as always, this is your host Alex, and we'll see you next time.